Hey guys, it's Sean here, and today I'm doing another reaction video. This time I'm doing a reaction video to basically a failure of a diesel, the Amtrak EMD SDP40F. So let's get started. This is made by Amtrak Guy 365, by the way.
Hello everyone, I'm Amtrak Guy 365 and welcome to the first edition of Engines of Amtrak.
And this might be weird because I never do reviews on diesels.
Over the years.
This one actually did surprise me due because
E9, etc. as they would become redundant.
Diesel not...
Today the engine we are
it only
looking at
lasted
is
for
the
like
SDP40F.
4 years and that's it.
And now a brief history of late 1960s passenger trains in the United States.
Here we go.
Railroads during the 1960s in the U.S. were suffering
dreadfully, and no one cares.
Suffering dreadfully, and no one cares.
Broken and outdated. Tracks had little maintenance, and lack of ridership in favor of the highways and airlines was another factor in the decline of the American rail industry.
Chicago.
Large terminals were shut down and became ghostly skeletons of their former selves as railroads began canceling train after train to avoid going bankrupt.
Eventually.
The U.S. government saw the railroads were in deep trouble and stepped in to assist by forming the National Railroad Passenger Corporation, or Amtrak, to save the dying passenger rail industry. Amtrak's motive power consisted of dirty, outdated, leased engines from the railroads they took over passenger service from. These locomotives initially had no modifications paint-wise, keeping their railroad's heritage. One exception was Penn Central's E8 number 4316,
nice.
which was hastily painted into this scheme for the first day of Amtrak operations. This was a time for Amtrak known as the Rainbow Era, where mixed equipment for multiple railroads on trains was not uncommon. Starting in June 1973 and ending in August 1974, General Motors Electromotive Division, or EMD, began the building of 100
Hey, look, it's Happy Face!
40F locomotives, and it became the first new locomotive acquired by the Young Passenger Rail Corporation, and it became the backbone of Amtrak's locomotive fleet. The SDP40F was designated.
You know, I actually like the Amtrak's old logo. Whenever they came out with the new logo, it sucks.
Cowl body. This locomotive was built to replace aging E8, E9, and various other leased locomotives.
As usual, replace.
25 years old. The SDP40F was modeled
SpongeBob
after
music in the background.
SDP45 and the aesthetically pleasing car body style used by the Santa Fe on their exquisite passenger service, and was also modeled after the SD40F.
You know, I never wondered why did Amtrak take passenger service.
So much so, the internal components of an SDP40F were very similar to its freight counterpart.
Happy Face train.
The V16 diesel engine and General Motors 16
Wish I knew what city that was.
V3 prime mover producing 3,000 horsepower made the SDP40F the original long-distance.
Leave comments below if you
Amtrak.
like old Amtrak or new Amtrak.
The locomotives were also used on short-distance intercity trains as well until the introduction of the turboliner train sets.
Ew.
The locomotive was also designed for easy conversion of freight service should Amtrak cease operation. In 1974, the Milwaukee Road was looking for a locomotive to power Chicago.
Then Milwaukee ended like 1981.
The EMD F40C, quite similar to the SDP40F, was ordered. The F40C uses 16-cylinder General Motors 645 E3B prime mover that produced 3,200 horsepower. To replace steam heating as used on the SDP40F, a 670 horsepower head-end power, or HEP, was used. The SDP40F during tests reached 100 miles an hour, but was officially rated for 95 miles an hour.
95, boy.
However, these speeds were not implemented on SDP40F powered services.
Are we still in the Rainbow Era or something?
Used a horn created by Leslie just for the locomotives themselves. It was called the SL-4T. The horn sounded fairly similar to the many horns used in the railroads in the 1960s and 70s. Really does emit a
Chesapeake in Ohio.
Railroading. Here are a few samples.
524. 644. I was looking at all the numbers. Let's see this next one. 595. How about 555? Okay, I'm sorry. I had to make that joke.
Coaches used by Amtrak were still heated by steam at the time,
Huh,
so two
they were
steam
still heated by
generators were placed
steam?
atop the rear end of the roof.
Weren't they
on
would
the
have made by
locomotive.
diesel by like the
Forward of the
70s?
steam generators
God.
were 1,350 U.S. gallon water tanks that rested directly above the car body, and the lateral movement of moving water toward the sides of the tanks would begin to cause major problems. The
Oh,
infamous
Lord.
downfall of the SDP40F
Oh,
locomotives
hey,
were
it's
their
the Happy
frequent
Face train.
derailments
Oh,
that
God,
they're
I feel
quite
bad for
famous
them.
for. Operating crews complained the SDP40F rode roughly compared to the E units they were used to. The Federal Railroad Administration, or FRA, investigated the matter and claimed it was due to the uneven weight distribution with the steam generators and water tanks, making the rear end of the locomotive too heavy, causing lateral motion, and would end up causing the locomotive to jump the tracks
That is
quite
true.
often. The
That
rough
can
condition
happen.
of tracks on American railroads of the 1960s and 70s didn't help much either. Thus, the underbody tank on the SDP40F
Yeah, that's because they
was split
didn't
with
do
water and
crap
diesel
with
fuel to try
repairing
and combat
track.
the issue, as well as lowering speed limits on curves. A later FRA investigation claimed the lightweight coaches Amtrak was using was an issue, as they were much lighter compared to the SDP40F and created
That is
harmonic
true because they weren't
vibration,
that. They
thus
were
causing
very
the
light.
coaches or the
Holy
locomotives to
shit!
jump
What the fuck
tracks.
happened to that?
The many problems caused by Amtrak's SDP40F convinced the Burlington Northern and Chesapeake and Ohio railroads to ban the self-proclaimed rail breakers from
Rail
running on their
breakers.
tracks. In 1975, Amtrak began seeking a new locomotive design to
Let's
replace
guess
the
what
failing
kind.
SDP40F. EMD then
Oh,
presented
no.
Amtrak with a locomotive that some
Oh,
modern-day rail fans
no.
literally
I don't.
over
I
it.
know what this is.
This was the F40PH, designed for short
My God, I
distance
hate
routes
that
while
engine.
allowing the
Thank God it's
SDP40Fs
retired. No
to
one use.
maintain
They don't use it
long-distance
anymore.
service. By the late 1970s, however,
That's
the
sad.
derailments and bans from running the SDP40F finally proved to Amtrak the locomotive just wasn't up to the
643 and
task it was
644. It makes it
designed for.
sad because you know why they're
The
happy.
harsh winter of 1976 to 77 took a toll on Amtrak steam-heated coaches, and thus the Bud Company presented the Am
Bud Company.
a sleek new coach with the
Hey,
electric
Bud,
heating and
buy me
lighting
some Bud.
improved the F40 much more reliable with its built-in head-end power for the heating and lighting of the coaches.
The coaches, I mean, are
The
weird.
F40PH was decided to be the ideal locomotive to pull them.
Ew, I hate that engine. Screw F40Hs. Or screw F40Hs. Those things are stupid. Why is the baggage coach at the back? It should be at the front.
In 1977, Amtrak began withdrawing the SDP40F from
This
their
is
roster
sad.
after only 4 years of service.
4
However,
years.
Some SDP40F
4
lasted
years,
in service
guys.
up to the 1980s until the last were removed from Amtrak's roster in 1985. Amtrak traded 132 SDP40Fs for F40PH
God
cars,
damn.
which were F40s built using SDP40 parts. 18 SDP40Fs landed in the hands of the Santa Fe in trade for 25 CF7s and 18 SSB1200s.
The fuck?
Santa Fe converted the SDP40Fs into freight service and designated them as SDF40-2.
I actually tried to look that up for
Retirement in
trains. I couldn't find it, but I
2002.
could find the SDP40Fs. Wish I could find the Santa Fe versions, but I don't really like the Santa Fe ones. Those look ugly. They're all the same color. That's weird.
All
Now that's sad.
SDP40Fs are assumed scrapped,
Now that's sad.
all except for one. Amtrak number 644 was
So
sent to
644
Dynamic
was
Rail
saved.
Preservation Incorporated after a brief career on BNSF and the Portland and Western, painted in a Maersk Sealand scheme, and is
Maersk.
currently on display in Ogden, Utah, with an undetermined restoration fate. The SDP40F may have not been the most
That's
successful
the sad
passenger
part about it.
locomotive ever
They didn't
produced,
even
being
survive
plagued
that
with
long on
derailments,
Amtrak.
banned from running, and hosting a bad reputation
Happy
riding
Face
the rails,
train.
but it had a retro look that many modern train enthusiasts look back at today and admire. The SDP40F definitely left its mark in the history books of Amtrak, the National Railroad Passenger Corporation.
Okay, don't kill me because I watched this.
Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed. Thank you to all who helped out in the production of this, providing information,
I might
photos,
try
and
to
video
give them
clips.
some information.
I will be progressing further into the history of Amtrak's motive power in the next episode, where we'll be looking at the French-built turboliner train set.
Ew!
Stay tuned, and thank you again for watching.
Well, that was Engines of Amtrak. First one. Might do another one in about a couple, like, days, because I'm going to be with someone. So, it's on the Pug Production, signing off. Peace, mates.